Hello everyone. My name is Deborah Ogujobi Fadam. I'm a human anatomist. And if you are seeing me for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you are familiar with my face, thanks for always being here, for watching my previous videos, for the likes, for the comments, for sharing. And if you are a subscriber, kudos to you. Thank you so much for this encouragement. It means so much to me. You are all welcome to Health Issues. You're welcome once again. Now, how come a woman doesn't have so much glucose in her bloodstream before conception, and all of a sudden, during pregnancy, she develops diabetes? What could be responsible for this? Can it be prevented? What are the risk factors that could predispose a woman to this? All these and much more I'll be talking about in this episode. So whether you're a male or female, don't go away. Alright, so diabetes generally is a medical condition in which the levels of glucose in the blood are too high, and gestational diabetes is the type that sets in during pregnancy, in which the blood glucose of the pregnant woman is so high, and then after delivery it returns back to the normal range. And hey, according to research, this happens to 10% of women in the United States each year. And so it is worth discussing what could be the cause. Number one is that during pregnancy, the placenta produces hormone that causes glucose to build up in the blood. Examples of such hormones are estrogen, cortisol, placenta, lactogen. These hormones inhibit the functioning of the hormone called insulin. Now, when there is extra glucose in the blood, the pancreas normally releases insulin to pick up the extra glucose, send them to the target cells where they are needed, and then the excess ones are transported to the liver and the muscle cells. But when the actions of the insulin are being blocked by these hormones, estrogen, cortisol, then enough insulin is not released, is not produced to tackle the situation on ground. Another thing is that when the body doesn't produce enough insulin, or when the body doesn't use up insulin as much as it should, then the blood glucose level could rise and gestational diabetes could set in. Number two is food intake. Now, generally when we eat, for example, carbohydrates are broken down into glucose, and then foods that are high in carbohydrates, they cause the blood glucose level to rise so quickly. And so when a pregnant woman feeds excessively on foods that have high carbohydrate content, then surely her blood glucose level will trigger so quickly. And so number two is food intake. And so in a nutshell, what happens during gestational diabetes is that insulin resistance sets in. And so the sensitivity of insulin to the cells reduces during insulin resistance. The glucose in the blood are not picked up efficiently, and then extra glucose is brought to the developing fetus. And when it gets to the fetus, the insulin of the fetus is also trying to arrest the situation, and so the fetal insulin increases, and eventually this might result into a big baby. So what are the symptoms? Now, most women, even when they develop gestational diabetes, they don't know, and so it is usually discovered during routine screening. However, such women may notice the following. Number one, they drink more than usual. They take liquid more than usual. Number two is they urinate more than usual. Number three is that they eat more than usual, and then nausea, vomiting, fatigue, to mention but a few. What are the risk factors? What are those factors that could predispose a woman to developing gestational diabetes? Number one is obesity or gain weight, overweight before conception. When a woman is obese before conception, she is predisposed to developing gestational diabetes. Number two is family background. Yes, if diabetes runs in the bloodline, whether the father or the mother has diabetes, such a woman is predisposed. Number three is high blood pressure and other medical complications. Number four is also a previous record of pre-diabetes. Yes, if the woman has pre-diabetes, pre-diabetes is a medical condition in which the blood glucose rises, but it doesn't reach the range of diabetes. The next thing is if the woman has a previous record of gestational diabetes, maybe during her first conception or second conception, she had gestational diabetes. Another thing is if the pregnant woman herself is diabetic before conception. We also have ethnic groups. Yes, there are some ethnic groups that are easily predisposed to developing gestational diabetes. We have the Africans, Hispanic, Eastern Asians, the Americans. Yes, the African Americans and the Native Americans, they are also predisposed. Another thing is if a woman has given birth to a stillborn before, that is a dead baby, or she has given birth to a large baby, a baby weighing about 4 kg or more than 4 kg, that's about 9 pounds or more, such a woman is also predisposed to gestational diabetes. Apart from that, age factor, yes, from 30 years and above, a woman is predisposed to it, and that is why it is encouraging to marry early and also give birth on time. So all these factors, to mention but a few, could predispose a woman to developing gestational diabetes. Let's talk about the effects of gestational diabetes. Now, starting with the baby, such babies, few days after delivery, their blood glucose level could drop. Yes, the insulin keeps on picking up the sugar, not knowing that the baby is not getting nutrients again through the placenta. So number one, the blood glucose of the baby could drop few days after delivery. Number two is that such children are at increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes in future. Another thing is that those children have a risk of developing childhood obesity. Yes, they could become so big during childhood. They also have an increased risk of developing respiratory distress syndrome. Some babies even die when they can't go through it. Some babies could die. It will result into a stillbirth. And some other babies too could develop certain birth defects. For example, heart defects, to mention but a few. Let's talk about the maternal effects too. Number one is hypertensive disorder. Such a woman is exposed to an increased risk of developing hypertension. Number two is maternal distress. Number three is that she is also at a risk of developing urinary tract infection. She could develop what is called diabetic neuropathy, which causes kidney failure. Another thing is lactation failure. Lactation is the process of production of milk. So few days after delivery, she may not be able to produce milk. We also have spontaneous abortion, recurrent miscarriages, spontaneous abortion, to mention but a few. Now, even during labor, such women could, number one, they could have prolonged labor for a long time. Another thing is abnormal presentation. Then postpartum hemorrhage is bleeding after delivery. And another thing is that such women have a greater chance of undergoing operation, that is cesarean section. All these, to mention but a few, are the effects on the mother. So how is it diagnosed? Like I said the other time, screening is usually carried out between the 24 weeks and the 28 weeks of pregnancy. It could even be sooner than that if the woman is at increased risk. For example, if she herself is diabetic, of course, she needs to be monitored, controlled regularly. So the screening is carried out with the oral glucose tolerance test or the fasting blood glucose test, and the result is checked after 1 hour, after 2 hours. Now, a blood level that is lower than 7.8 millimoles per liter is normal. A blood glucose level that is higher than 11.1 millimoles per liter indicates diabetes. A blood glucose level between 7.8 and 11.0 indicates pre-diabetes. Don't forget, pre-diabetes is above normal but not getting to the diabetic range. And so the blood glucose is being checked and diagnosed. Now the main question is, can it be avoided? Can gestational diabetes be prevented? Yes, it can, especially if it doesn't run in the family line. So if it is not the one that is inherited, of course, it is possible to be prevented. Number one is to engage in regular exercise. Pregnant women should make exercise an habit. Pregnancy is not an excuse not to engage in exercise, because regular exercise helps to increase the insulin sensitivity of the cells. Regular exercise helps to keep the blood pressure and the blood glucose levels on check. And so number one is regular exercise. Take a walk, take a stroll. And if you are yet to watch my video, cheap indoor exercises for all categories of age, please check it. You will see those exercises that a pregnant woman could engage in. So get out, take a walk, take a stroll, get vitamin D free of charge. Number 2 is to have a good eating habit. Yes, you need to feed on low or moderate carbohydrates. You don't feed excessively on foods that contain high carbohydrates, refined sugar, processed foods all the time. Number 2, you need to take foods that are rich in iron. Foods that are rich in iron. Number 3 is to feed on high fiber diet, foods that have high fiber. So eat healthy in order to prevent gestational diabetes. All this and more I'll be talking about in my next episode. I'm sure you don't want to miss out of my next episode. Thank you so much for watching this episode. That takes us to the question of the day. Question time. Question time. So in my last episode, I asked, what are those measures you are putting in place to reduce the junk intake of your world, children, teenagers, adolescents? My own answers are this. Number 1, prepare healthy food for them. Make it presentable, beautiful, delicious. Prepare it very well. Not that the salt is here, the maggi is here, the water is here, the oil is here. Prepare it in a beautiful way. Number 2 is surprise your children with healthy food. When you say, I have a surprise for you, it shouldn't always be pizza, french fries, candy, sweets, cake. Surprise them with a well-assorted fried rice, jollof rice, coconut rice. Surprise them with healthy food. Present them healthy food as gifts. And also reduce your patronage of junk. Yes, you are the one buying it for them, or better still, you are the one taking them here. So reduce your patronage. So I think with all this could help to reduce the junk intake of children. Now to my question for today. That's I almost said the answer. I said pregnant women should go out, get vitamin D. So that's natural source of vitamin D. What is it? Where do they get the vitamin D from? When they go out, take a stroll, take a walk? I don't want to mention the answer. Just go down the comment section below and leave the answers for me. Don't forget to like this video, please comment and also share. And if you are yet to subscribe, please subscribe to my channel. Just press the subscribe button. Then when you see the word subscribe, there's a bell beside it. Press that bell so that you could get notified anytime I upload these goodies. Thank you so much for doing that. Stay positive, stay safe. I'm still your girl, Deborah, signing out. Bye.